She wants this. All right, so let's get going. So last week we finished operations management. And so today we're moving into learning unit 2. And in learning unit 2, what we're actually dealing with, or what we are then going on to look at, is that of human resource management. Okay? Human resource management. Okay? So that is, I believe, chapter 13 in your textbooks. Chapter 13 in your textbooks. All right, and I was just telling the guys who arrived a little bit earlier, who I had for accounting earlier, which is most of you. Actually, don't need this for now. Which is that I have iStars for you guys in the last 2 sessions. Okay. You can either do it here in class and go to the library if you need a PC, or you can do it from home. Okay. But that's what we need you to do in the last 2 sessions. All right. The expiry date though is not for today. I've set that up for 6th of October. But again, that might be pulled closer if they need your iStars sooner than that. Okay. Right. Okay, I lied. That's actually chapter 12, not chapter 13. It's actually chapter 12, your human resources. So this is an outline of what we'll be discussing today. Obviously, we'll be introducing the topic. Then we'll be looking at the relationship between line management and the human resource department, seeing how they function together, right? How they assist each other. And then we'll be looking at human resource planning, and then finding qualified talent. What is that all about? Developing talent, retaining talent, yes, motivating employees, and then labor legislation that impacts the workplace. All right. So that is our agenda for the day. Okay, that is our agenda for the day. All right. So, speaking to HR and their function. What is HR's objective? What is their function? In your own words, what do you think HR does for us? Yes?
So they hire employees.
Just hire.
So that they deal with issues in the workplace with employees.
Yes, deal with issues in the workplace. Okay? There's a lot to it. All right? There's a lot to it, but you're 100% right. And the key focus is literally in the name, is to manage our human resources, okay? To ensure that the working environment is ideal for us to get the best out of our human resources. And then here they're saying that HR functions as a strategic partner, okay? Improve skills base of employees and contribute to profitability of the organization. How do they contribute to the profitability? With any of our resources, how do our resources contribute to the profitability? Yes, sir.
So couldn't there somehow, when it's time to increase the salaries of employees,
yes,
they might try and involve them, thus increasing the profit?
I don't know how to respond.
Well, it's the truth.
You say what?
So it's the truth.
He says it's the truth. You guys agree with him? Does HR know poor people? My question was, how does HR make a company more profitable, right, or contribute to profitability? I would like to further dissect or engage what our colleague just raised. Does HR lowball? Yes? Or you can just share your comment, whatever you want to share. It's fine. Is it? Don't they lowball you when you sign, when you first join? And that's not to take away anything from what you said, because they can also lowball you when it comes to an increase. It could potentially do that. Yes, you want to say something?
What about this?
Uh-huh.
Like another way they increase companies.
Yeah, another way?
So they motivate employees. And the more they motivate, the more they want to work.
Okay.
Increases production.
Okay, increases production. Okay.
Increase.
Okay, that was one of the things I wanted to highlight with what do we do with our resources to increase profitability? We try to optimize. We try to get the most out of it. Does that make sense? So HR tries to ensure that we have an optimal working environment for our staff so as to get the best out of them. And in getting the best out of them, they're going to be productive. In being productive, we are more profitable, not so? Okay, so that's the point that I obviously want to raise. But 100%, sir. I mean, that's just one element of how they can obviously assist us in being profitable. So, yes, that can happen very, very much. Yes. The model code is BMNG5122. Yeah? All right. All right, cool. Then going on, it says every manager in the organization should realize the importance of recruiting, selecting, training, developing, rewarding, assisting, and motivating employees. Okay? Integration and teamwork are essential for organizational success. Right? The job does not end. Earlier on, when we were describing HR, we said they hire people, isn't it? The job does not end just at hiring. All right? We don't just get your CV, interview you, compare you to other potential candidates, and then say, okay, you're the best, and then we give you a contract, and that's it. We actually need to integrate you into the workspace. We need to show you this is your team, this is what you're going to be doing, this is your desk, this is the culture in the company, all right? This is what is expected of you, this is your line manager, so that you can nicely begin to settle in and then obviously produce what is expected of you. So they also integrate you, okay? Then here they go on to tell us that HR management and organizational effectiveness. All right. Effective organizations must have a vision, a mission strategy, organizational structure, and human resources. Okay. Successful companies have the following HR management attributes. Okay. So you've got your primary benefits. Okay. You've got your secondary benefits and working conditions. All right, then you've got your training and development, something we've spoken a little bit about, and then career development, company culture, and diversity. Okay, so these are all things that HR has their hands in to some degree. Okay, and HR then obviously assists in saying, okay, from a salary perspective, this is how much you're going to get, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But it's not just, at the end of the day, the salary that we use to ensure that staff are satisfied with the place in which they work, right? Or are motivated to continue to deliver, okay? So hence why we also look at working conditions and so forth, okay? Other secondary benefits, things outside of your salary, you could say when a company pays for fees for your kids, right? You don't have to pay for that, right? That's a secondary benefit. It's not something that's coming directly out of your salary, okay? We can go on and on about this, okay? Now, if HR is doing their bit and is really making the environment conducive and ideal for staff, then these are the things that you are obviously then going to effectively get. They're going to be assisting everybody to reach their goals, efficient use of skills and abilities, okay? And one thing you guys should know now, before you start your careers, if they have no long-term vision or career development for you, you should ask yourself why you're there. Okay, there's always supposed to be a long-term trajectory for you as a professional. Okay. Okay, job satisfaction, self-actualization. All right, and the list goes on and on and on. Okay. Right. Now, coming down to something a little more specific as to HR, it's HR planning, okay? Right? So when it comes to HR planning, you've got three phases, all right? The first being identifying the work being done in the organization. So HR needs to identify what is actually taking place here. What type of company are we operating? And then what tasks and things are being dealt with in the organization. Okay, so that's literally the first phase, and that's what we are delving in first. So if you actually go in your textbooks to page 363, you will begin to see more detail on the three things that actually take place within the first phase. So job analysis, again, this is an investigation, and chances are in the real world, the HR will actually be engaging with the line manager to say, what happens in your department? Because remember, HR is they're not specialists within the field of whatever is being done in the business. Does that make sense? So the line manager will know better that this is the work that each of my team members is actually doing. And then obviously give HR the full scope of that so that they can do a proper job analysis. When the job analysis is now done, this obviously needs to be written down and a list is provided of exactly, right, what is happening within the job. And a lot of what we're actually talking about, whenever you guys actually apply for a job, you realize that you're looking at the job description, right? And then after they give you a little bit of the job description, they then give you the job specification. And the job specification is actually them telling you that, Aubrey, we actually want you to have this degree, this professional qualification, right? This number of years of experience, okay? Because if you have those, then you'll be an ideal candidate to obviously fulfill the tasks and duties and expectations of the actual job, okay? So you guys, for the most part, only see the last two when you're looking at applying for a job. But then at least now you know, or we have come to learn, that there's a job analysis that takes place for them to put that together. So after identifying the work that is done, the next thing that they do when it comes to planning is they then need to forecast. And in forecasting, we're saying, where's the business going, right? Is this business going to increase in size or is it actually going to decrease in size? How do they determine that, right? Or is it just going to stay the same, okay? Because it's not necessarily that we're always increasing in size or decreasing in size, okay? So how do they determine that? They look at economic growth. What's happening in the economy, right? Is it getting better or is it getting worse? And as a result of that, within our specific industry, right? Are things booming or are they contracting, right? Is there going to be more demand for our services or not? So you're going to determine now within the business's context, all right? Are we growing or otherwise? Then you're going to go and say new developments, right? Even if the economy is not doing well, we might be saying to ourselves, you know what, we want to step into a new sphere or space within our industry. In other words, offer a new product or a new service, okay? And if we're going to do that, then obviously that means that we're going to need more staff in order to facilitate those business activities, okay? And if so, then we're obviously going to hire people, right? A lot of that was happening during COVID, with especially the tech companies, all right? because now there was this heavy reliance on online this, online that, okay? And a lot of us were also now buying from Takealot, okay, and so forth. So now, even companies that were not necessarily tech orientated were now hiring developers so that they could offer their products online, so that they can obviously still make sales, right? That would have required them sitting down with HR, looking at where they want to go, and then explaining that we need this type of skill set, and then obviously identifying, okay, cool. We then need to hire software developers who can then develop our website, develop our mobile applications, so that we can continue to sell our product accordingly. Okay? And then, interesting, the labor market. Somebody tell me, how does the labor market play a role in HR forecasting the human resource needs of the business? I'll take your hand first, then I'll come to you. Yes?
So the labor market plays a role in this human resources because basically is the business like providing enough opportunities for people to get jobs,
Okay. And you, sir?
So that can lead to like changes in the labor market.
Mm-hmm.
Like if let's say AI is taking over a certain job like this, then you have to see if they, something like that. Like AI is taking over a certain job.
Mm-hmm.
Are people going more for this job or that job? So changes in the labor market.
Okay. Okay. Any other thoughts inside this one? Are we here to this? We're here. Huh? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Other than the labor market set the minimum wage.
Labor market sets the minimum wage. Yes.
So
Yes.
that would affect how companies hire.
Mm-hmm. How they hire. So that's the primary aspect that we're looking at. Remember, we are talking from HR's perspective. All right. Everything you guys said is 100% correct, but we're talking from HR's perspective. So when HR is looking at the labor market, in addition to minimum wage and things of that nature, we're also looking at and saying, what's the supply and demand? Right? In the current economy that we are in, you guys tell me, are there more people looking for jobs? Is there a greater demand for jobs than there is supply? Where is the labor market? Or is there a great supply for jobs and not enough people to hire? The first one, there's more demand for jobs than there is supply, right? Yes, sir. Yes.
So that's where the problem is. Not in jobs.
Okay.
People want people with specific skills.
But we have people with degrees who are sitting at home. Am I right?
Actually,
So, okay, you can. I'm hearing your argument, right? My next question would be, if they need 10 years work experience, right? And they're not filling that role, right? Then the question would be, do they really need to actually hire for that role? Because if you desperately need someone and you don't have anyone and there's work there, you're going to upskill that person. You'd rather hire and upskill, yeah? Because you're not going to just leave the work. You get what I'm saying? And if we look at unemployment, what's unemployment in South Africa? It's about 30 something. Last I heard, I think it was 36. But I stand under correction. Okay? But it's in the 30s. You get what I'm saying? So there is that, I've heard that too, that it's about skills and so forth.
32%, sir.
32%. Thank you very much.
32.9.
32.9. So I hear that argument, and I do believe in certain skill sets, specializations, there is that problem. But when we speak generally speaking, the problem is there's more demand than supply. There's more companies in need of, there's more people in need of a job than there are companies that can hire. Okay? So now going back to this, in terms of forecasting, from an HR perspective, is it more advantageous for us when there's an excess demand for jobs?
Yes.
Why?
Because you get a variety, like you have a variety from who you can choose.
What did you want to say? Same thing. 100%. Yes. Yes, sir. We can pay them less. Why? Because if you want a job, I want a job, she wants a job. What? Desperate. Right? So we can take 10,000, 9,000 where we typically should be getting what? How much? You always know when we're being undercut. How much? Yeah, when we should be commanding something like 15. Does that make sense? And I'm just using that as an example.
But isn't it, it is a bit of a taboo to like ask your colleagues like what they're earning and all of that, so that you have an understanding of like how much they're earning.
Yes.
So I think it's like HR sets that type of culture.
It's actually against policy.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, 100%. It's not even just taboo, it's against policy. Because the moment we start discussing that, we find out she's actually earning the 15, and here I am with my 8.5. We're doing the same job. How do you think that's going to end?
That's why you
So
you can
Why is it 15? Can I say something right? You get what you negotiate. This is why information is everything. When they say, what are your salary expectations? Don't come there with, no, I just want to gain experience. You have to go and check and see. Someone fresh out of university with a computer science degree or with a BCom law, how much is that person supposed to earn? And you don't check just once on Google, you check on different platforms. And then you can say, okay, the lowest that I saw was this much. The highest that I saw was this much. Does that make sense? Okay, I have 3 years worth of work experience. I should be commanding X amount. I have certain certifications as well. I should be commanding X amount. You guys need to know these things. Because otherwise you will get lowballed. Because this is a business at the end of the day. So we're trying to cut our costs as low as possible. That includes you. You think this is a free for all. So just be careful on that one. Okay, but we've spent enough time here. Okay, but if you have any thoughts or comments, you're more than welcome to share. So now phase 3, after we forecasted, we now need to come up with a plan as HR. Okay, human resource plan. Okay. Purpose of this plan is to provide concrete guidelines and steps that indicate how the business's short, medium, and long-term human resource requirements can be provided for. So we forecasted, we said this business is either growing or it's shrinking. This is the situation in the labor market, so forth, so forth. And I love this. What must we do today to be prepared for tomorrow? Okay? So we don't wait for needing those software developers to start hiring software developers. We start hiring software developers such that when we need them, they're there. Does that make sense? Okay. That's proactive management. Okay. All right. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. So that is the HR planning broken down in 3 phases. Okay. Now, finding qualified talent. All right. And I love the fact that we established that right now for HR things are good because they have ample supply for the most part. Because what you raised is very true. There is a shortage of specialized skills, all right, in certain aspects. Okay, so when recruiting, we can recruit from inside, we can recruit from outside, okay? Then the recruitment procedure, we'll see it just now, okay? But I'm quite disappointed in the slides in this sense. All right, not really disappointed, these are great slides. They're not mine, but they're great slides. But if you check in your textbooks, on page 365, you see there, figure 12.1. That is an awesome image. All right. And it's basically speaking to HR, checking, you know, what is the current consensus, all right? Expected losses. The reality is there is going to be expected losses. People are going to leave the business either because they're retiring, they're changing jobs, okay, or we fire them because they've been coming late enough. This alarm clock story of yours, we're tired. It's time to move on, okay? Maybe they're not a cultural fit, etc., etc., okay? The reality is there's going to be people who leave. And this is why companies always have graduate programs, okay? We know that the natural cycle, people are gonna leave, so we need to have people coming in, okay? All right, so this is a great diagram. Have a look at it when you have some time, okay? Now, obviously, we have ways in which we can recruit. We can advertise via TV, all right? Private employment, we can hire external companies also to go and look for certain talent for us, all right? Sometimes people don't have an HR function within the business, so they actually hire some consulting firms to do all this for them. Does that make sense? And typically, you're looking at a small to medium business. So because it's not such a big business, they have a small complement of staff. It's not necessary for them to have a whole team just dedicated or a whole individual that is just HR. So they just say, look, when we actually need someone, let's just outsource to get this done for us. Okay. Now, something very interesting, guys. I'll be very honest with you. Every job that I have had in my life has come through someone telling me, hey, show me. There's a job, and I think you're a good fit for it. Please apply where. And I apply, and then they also will put in a good word for me. That's the environment we live in this day and age. I don't want to lie to you guys. I don't want to lie to you guys. That's the environment. I've been working since formal employment. That is, I'd say 2013. Every job, every formal job, where there's a desk there, and I sit by a laptop, something of that nature, has been through that type of a thing. All right, I'm just telling you this so that when you guys, you finish up, don't just think we're going to PNet and we're going to LinkedIn and something is going to happen. It feels like a black hole there, like you're just throwing your CV in it and nobody is responding. Okay? So I'm just opening your mind to this. I hope I'm not discouraging anyone. Okay. Then obviously there's radio, TV, and I think almost every company typically has a section on their site where you can actually join them, or they say, look at our team, etc., etc. All right. Then as we continue with this thing of finding qualified talent, all right, talent selection. Selection is the process of determining which individuals are best suited to fill positions in the organization, okay? The selection process, again, they also have a diagram for this. I didn't write the page here on this slide, but it's there in your textbook. You can have a look at that as well. Okay, and not every company is going to follow this, all right? And not every role is going to require for you to go for psychometrics. Okay, but psychometrics help us understand how your brain typically works, how you think. Does that make sense? And typically, the manner in which somebody thinks has a good indication of how they're going to perform tasks and how well suited they are for the role that's vacant. Okay, so you apply, you get shortlisted, then there's intensive assessments. Yeah, we've spoken to that. And then final selection. And then as we highlighted, we don't just give you a contract and we say, welcome to whatever company. We then have to onboard you. In other words, train you, integrate you into the business. All right, but let's go on. Let's go on. Okay. Now, when you're now with the business, there's now also development. Okay? We can develop you on the job, we can develop you away from the job. Hey, and we always get excited when it's away from the job. Because basically they send you to somewhere fancy, have a presenter, start talking about this, that, and the third, you know. So it's always exciting. And then at some point, you know, there's coffee and muffins. It's nice, guys. It's nice. Okay. Then the third bullet point there, they say the danger of the shotgun approach to development. What are they talking about? What is the shotgun approach? And that's the term, the general term that we use for many things. What is the shotgun approach? And this is where you pull out your phones, ChatGPT, Google, you name it. Yes, sir. Direct approach. Or doing it quickly. Okay. All right. Thank you. Someone has put forward something. What is the shotgun approach? If we say Aubrey goes with the shotgun approach, what are we saying about him? Or we say we exercise the shotgun approach. Yes. According to Google? Yes.
It's about quantity over quality.
Quantity over quality. Yeah, I never expected that one. Let's see ChatGPT. Someone got ChatGPT what?
No, but I have the textbook.
Wait, hold on to the textbook. We'll come back to you. It looks like someone was teaching over there. Yeah, it's still thinking. Hey, my sister, this was an exam. I care for you. Yes. Guys. Okay. Is that the shotgun approach? Okay. And then? Yeah. According to ChatGPT, yeah, go ahead. Guys, let's listen.
So basically, it says shotgun approach refers to a strategy where a party, usually in a lawsuit, closes many allegations, arguments, or claims as possible and opposing party before court, in the hope that at least one of them will be successful.
At least one of them will be successful. Okay. So now, just before we go to the textbook, we have the textbook for us. Let me tell you what the shotgun approach is, according to Aubrey. Okay? According to me. So I can't be wrong because it's according to me. Yeah. Okay, sharp. Shotgun approaches. And if you watch the movie, you also know whenever they pull out a shotgun, the bullets shoot out, and they are like all over. They spread. So when we say she applied the shotgun approach, she just went with everything, pretty much threw out as many things as possible. And then whatever sticks, we're running with that. Does that make sense? So now, before I go into the content here, tell us from the textbook what this is.
Various organizations use the shotgun approach to development.
Mm-hmm.
This means an indiscriminate approach to development. The reason is as follows. If a training program is good for one employee, then it must be good for everyone.
Okay. Now, why is that a danger? If we say, now basically what they're saying is, you do one thing in the business, right? What's your role? Tell us what's your role. Why did we hire you, man? You're a great manager. Okay, so he's a manager. Why did we hire you, man? You're in the tech department. Now, one is a manager, he's got a whole team, and she's in the tech department. Should they be doing the same development? It doesn't make sense, but we're saying we use the shotgun approach. We're just throwing everything at you. So this is why we're saying there's a danger in that. Because we're wasting somebody's time. Busy teaching this guy all the tech, fancy stuff, AI, machine learning, nothing to do with his job. We're wasting his time. He could be very productive, focusing on his team, getting the most out of his team, but there he is learning about something that is not relevant. So that's the danger of the shotgun approach. Just throwing stuff at employees and saying, you must learn this, you must learn this. Okay, that was the whole point. Now, the next point there, they talk about performance appraisals. What are performance appraisals? This is where I sit with my boss, and it's now bonus time, so I'm very humble, and I listen to everything she says, I complete everything she says, because I know next week it's performance appraisals. And then she tells me, Aubrey, this is how you've been doing. And there's always a checklist of stuff. Does he complete stuff? Does he complete stuff on time? Does he meet deadlines? Does he show up for work on time? etc, etc, and the list goes on. She will then grade me to tell me, you're doing well in this regard, here you can do better, etc, etc. And then, hopefully, that results in me having a nice big fat bonus. Okay? Now, the reason why we say this is also part of development is because it's feedback. Are you doing well? Are you doing poorly? When we give you a test, sir, and the mark there is 20%, it's feedback. It's feedback. Yes. It means you didn't study. There was no studying that went on here. You came and you guessed. So when Aubrey says guess in class, you didn't guess in class, you went and guessed in the assessment. Okay. So, anyway, let's go on. Okay. This is the last slide, then I will let you guys go for a break. Right. So here we're talking about retaining. So it's not only about development. This guy doesn't like his feedback. It's not only about development, right? It's also about retaining, keeping our talent. Guys, do you know that if we have a huge turnover, it's not productive for the business? Because we're constantly trying to get people to where they need to be in order to produce at the level we need them to produce. So it's better for us to retain our talent. But how do we do that? All right? Compensation is usually quite high up there. We need to compensate people accordingly. All right? So you have direct compensation. This speaks to your basic salary primarily. Okay? Indirect, again, we might say, here's a house allowance. Here's a car allowance. Hey, I want to work at those places, guys. Someone needs to do this for me. Then reward. Okay? My performance appraisal came out nicely. Bonus. Thank you very much. Okay? All right? Then the amount of compensation. So here we're talking about HR needs to look externally to say, typically for this role, how much do people earn? Internally, you also need to look at a comparison there, job evaluation. What are the demands, the responsibilities of this job? Because although software developers get big money, okay, are we actually requiring a lot from this individual within the context of this company? Okay, then also factor comparison, okay? All right, whilst we might not give you the highest salary, we may reward you in this regard, and so forth, okay? So that's all that we're really speaking to there in terms of retaining talent, okay? And the last thing I'll say is that retaining talent is not only about salaries, compensation is not only about money, okay? All right, there's other components to it as well. But let's park the bus here, and then let's get back together at say 10 past, and then we'll finish off the slides and we'll call it a day. You know what? Can we make it 7 past? Then the sooner we come back, the sooner we can.